Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton. We are joined by a very, very special guest, Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. My name is T. Husk. Hi, and we are celebrating Aron Eisenberg. How you guys doing?
I'm fantastic.
Doing good. Yeah, doing good.
So
I was just telling Michael about his name. It's awesome.
Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Yeah, it's like a movie script.
It's like a whole script.
It's like a script. I want to read this movie. What does this guy do? What is this about?
That's all there is to the name. There's no more name. It's all out there. So.
You said you did stand-up comedy? Is that what you do, stand-up?
I did stand-up comedy like 10 years ago, and then I just recently got back into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's a difficult thing to do, right? Stand up there and tell jokes in front of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when people are laughing. It's not so much fun when people are not laughing at you. But
yeah,
don't laugh. Don't laugh. So, quick introduction about Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. He and I have been friends for more than a couple decades. He was also my first bandmate. I wasn't his first bandmate. We started a successful, very hugely, wildly successful band called Falling Tower. We also have a very successful YouTube channel together. He's since moved up to Portland. He's also a writer, stand-up comedian. As you know, I saw his recent show. It was very good. I laughed more than once. And he wasn't in the room, so I wasn't doing it politely. But anyway, tell us a bit more about yourself if I haven't covered it all, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Yeah, so what else is there? I guess, the YouTube channel is also named Falling Tower. Our band was Falling Tower. That's kind of like been our catch-all name for everything that Ryan and I have done together, is Falling Tower.
It's all about that falling tower.
Yeah, it's established 1999, so it's not... It has nothing to do with other towers that have fallen in the past.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I never thought about that.
It's an important distinction. People, back in the day when we were playing in the band, people would say, oh, you mean like 9/11? We're like, no, this happened. We got this before.
No.
So, no.
It was a tarot card, actually. And so we got that. So in different decks, it's called the Tower or the Falling Tower. But this particular deck that we had, it was called the Falling Tower. So that became our name. Yeah.
Awesome. That's where it came from, the tarot deck.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the tower falling.
Nope, not to my knowledge.
All right.
Or mine. So I guess that covers it.
Just clearing it up. So
I didn't know.
Won't be brought in for investigation. We won't have you, testify in front of the Senate. So awesome. You guys are clear. You're all clear.
So now that everybody knows that Michael is a funny person and also an extremely talented guitarist, by the way, and vocalist.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
And songwriter. Yeah.
I didn't want to put that in with the extremely talented portion. He is also a songwriter. But on top of that, he's also a big Star Trek nerd. By the way, he's the guy that first got me going to Star Trek conventions. So everybody that is annoyed by seeing me at conventions, you have to...
Sorry.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
No, but tell us about your Star Trek viewing experience, specifically Deep Space Nine and that character called Nog.
Well, when I was like a young kid, I kind of like rebelled against Star Trek because my dad liked Star Trek, and I was like, oh, what is this Star Trek stuff for nerds? But then I became a nerd, and I started watching Star Trek. And actually, a big part of my watching Star Trek was due to Ryan's influence.
I was a nerd too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So was I. So we were all nerds once.
And then I definitely caught some of DS9 when it was on the air, but I mean Ryan and Darth also both were big fans of DS9, and they roped me into watching it. And man, I loved Deep Space Nine, loved it. Obviously, big fan of Nog, Captain Nog.
Forever.
Yeah. And yeah, that is actually my favorite series of all the Star Treks, just because there's so many great characters, not just like the core principal cast, but like all the extended cast, all the Ferengis, all the Cardassians, all the Klingons,
Jake Siskos.
Obviously, you've got the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar, which are great.
So you like the aliens, is what we're picking up on.
Well, I like, but I like the principal cast also. I mean, I definitely like everything about it. So
yeah.
So what
did you ever have a conversation with your dad about it afterwards?
Oh.
Like, hey,
he
knows. I was dissing you all this time, but now we can talk about it.
Well, he knows. I mean, he's been to Star Trek convention, a Star Trek convention with us as well as an admiral, by the way. So
that's right. He's the highest ranking member of our nerd crew.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Mike, what did you like specifically about Nog?
Well, he was a little bit of an underdog, first of all, and I like that he was scrappy and he worked his way up to, worked his way into Starfleet, first of all, as the very first Ferengi, and then worked his way up eventually in canon to become Captain Nog. So.
Yeah, that's a big storyline arc. It's funny because I was looking recently and I saw, these GIFs that they have, these really short clips. And I found a GIF of Nog saying that I think I'll take a uniform, please, or something like that when he was announcing to his parents that he was going to enter into Starfleet.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Just that little GIF, I'll have a uniform, please. It was a great story arc. I mean, just a fantastic started from the bottom, now we're here type of storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, Michael here also has a more personal reason for why. Did you ever get a chance to meet Aron in person, actually?
I did at one of those STLVs that I went to. I met him at his table. I didn't really have a long conversation with him, but I did get a chance to meet him, shake his hand, and but this was before I was diagnosed with kidney disease. What?
Plot twist.
But Michael, you're so young and attractive. Well,
and funny, but not everything fun and games, you guys.
Yeah, so I guess it was sometime. I haven't been back to the Star Trek convention since I started dialysis. I was diagnosed with like early kidney disease back in like 2012, I want to say. But then I started dialysis in 2015 once I reached end stage. And I do peritoneal dialysis, the same dialysis that Aron Eisenberg did. And so hearing about how he did the same treatment that I do really inspired me. I'd always dreamed about going back and to the convention and meeting him again and saying, hey, by the way, I'm a big good friend of Ryan's. And but also I do peritoneal dialysis similar to him. And I was just blown away when I found out that his first transplant was a cadaver transplant. That means it's from somebody who had passed away, but it lasted 20 years, which is incredible.
I think it was I thought it was even longer than that, but you might know better than I.
I remember hearing 20 years.
Okay.
But yeah.
What's this dialysis process like for those that don't know?
Thank you. So it's a very good question, because a lot of people, when they hear the word dialysis, they think of big needles going into your arms, and then they take your blood out and cycle it through like a filter. I don't do that kind of dialysis. I do much less painful dialysis, because I've talked to some people who that's called hemodialysis, and it's abbreviated HD. I've talked to some people that do HD, and man, those needles are huge, and it's pain. Like sometimes this one girl I know who does it, she gets like a little numbing shot just before she gets the big needles inserted. Just because it hurts so much.
That thing's like a spear then.
Right. So I don't do that type of dialysis. I do what's called peritoneal dialysis. So I have a catheter that comes out of my abdomen, and I fill my abdominal cavity with the dialysis solution, and then the peritoneal lining of my abdomen. This is technical talk here. The peritoneal lining.
Don't worry, we're nerds. We're keeping up. Tell us more about the Captain and Tennille thing.
The peritoneal lining, Ryan.
I thought it was Shaquille O'Neal, but yeah.
I mean, I wish it was one of those with those two.
So this is a device that you wear?
So I have a catheter that comes out of my abdomen. So it goes into my abdominal cavity, and it's got a little curly Q on it inside me. But then the catheter comes out, and so I have like just permanently, I just have this catheter sticking out of my stomach.
Okay.
But then I don't have, like I said, they don't put needles in me. I fill my belly with the fluid, and then the peritoneal lining of my stomach acts as the filter.
The filter.
So through osmosis, it pulls out the excess fluid and the toxins from my bloodstream. And so I fill my belly with fluid, and then when I drain my belly, more fluid comes out.
Did you?
How often is this process? I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, please go ahead.
It's okay. So I do it. So there's a couple different kinds of PD. Peritoneal dialysis is abbreviated PD. So there's a couple different kinds of PD. There's manual solution bags, which this is how I started. I understand this is what Aron did, is the manual bags. So you usually it depends on the prescription, but usually you do 4 exchanges a day. So that means 4 times a day you'd hook up to this bag, and you'd fill up your belly with solution, and then you drain out you would drain out the old solution, and then you'd fill your belly with the new solution.
Wow.
But I do what's called continuous cycling peritoneal dialysis. So I hook up to a machine at night that does the cycling for me. So the machine, first it drains out anything that's left in my belly, then it'll fill me up and drain me, and it does that 4 times in a night. But it's great for me because I connect at night, do my dialysis, I wake up, unplug, and just go about my day as normal.
Okay, so all the job is done while you're asleep.
Right.
Wow, that's a big process, and it's a life-changing process. I'm sure that's one of the biggest difficulties that you had to deal with is adjusting your life to now accommodate this process and deal with this illness.
Absolutely,
certainly hinders his travel ability. Yeah. There's all kinds of machines and bags and stuff like that to take with him.
Oh man, yeah, I have to. So I'll give you guys an example. So in April, my wife and I are traveling down to LA, and I have to order some supplies down there. Luckily, I know somebody down there, Ryan, that I can or I can send the supplies to have them received. But so I have to order like a few cases of supplies to be sent down there. And then I have to carry some supplies with me. So I have to carry some manual bags in case of emergency. I have to carry my cycler, my big cycler. My dialysis clinic will lend me a big case. It's a hard shell case that's like padded inside, so that I can bring the cycler on the plane. I don't bring it on the plane, but I'll check it. But it keeps it safe. I've traveled maybe 6 or 8 times now with this case back and forth. And the same cycler, and it's been fine every time. So it takes really care of it. But then I also have to, so I'm carrying these manual bags. It's like 2-liter bags of liquid, and I have to carry that on the plane with me. And so, this is, America, and we have to go through TSA screening. And so it's always a pain in the butt to go through TSA. They always give me extra screenings. They always give me like the full,
Sure.
I like how my hand's like disappearing. The full like terrorist pat down. Yeah.
So that's why
it's because of your middle name. It's your middle name. It's Kenyon. I don't want to point out the obvious.
Yeah. I was trying not to say it. But that's why
I had a question though. No,
I was just going to say that's why Aron would drive to Vegas. You know, if anytime you can drive rather than fly when you have that many things to take with you, that's why, you know, he would drive. But what were you saying? Sorry.
No, my question was, well, you have to deal with this, and you know, it's a pain in the ass, obviously, for traveling. But what is the effects of not doing it? If you know, what happens if you miss a session or if you don't do your thing? What happens is you go into, you know.
So I am fortunate in that I've been doing very well on this modality of dialysis. And actually my doctor has cut me down. So now I'm only doing 4 days a week. So I get some days off. It actually is very convenient for me to go do stand-up, because then I can have a night off and I don't have to worry about dialyzing a few days a week. So
I didn't know that. When is that recent?
So actually, when I was still down in LA, my doctor bumped me down to 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved up here, they did a few tests, and then my doctor's like, "Oh, let's just try 5." And then I was just doing so well on that, I was like, "Can we do 4?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so I've been doing that now.
You're negotiating. By the way,
like a Ferengi.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of it. Before I forget, I do want to go back to something we were talking about for a second there. I'm about 99% sure that Aron's kidney lasted him 30 years.
Oh yeah, man, that's even more amazing.
Because I think he got it, you know, mid to late teens, and then he had to get a new one a few years ago. So definitely 30 years was when that, and I remember people saying it. I remember him talking about it, which is, you know, just incredible. And
that's amazing.
People wanted that to be known, that, like, you know, he was a good champion, you know, and spokesperson for that kind of thing for kidney transplants, and say, look, this does work. So, you know, put that D that says you're a donor on your driver's license.
Definitely, yeah.
D for definitely. And because it's so important, because you can give somebody another 30 years of quality life, you know.
Well, and his kidney was a cadaver kidney, and those typically don't last as long as live donors. But speaking of transplant, I wanted to share this with you guys.
Quick.
This is so I'm listed at Legacy Good Samaritan Hospital up here in Portland, Oregon. And this is their website and phone number to get more information about being a donor. Just because you call the number doesn't mean you have to donate, but it's just if you want more information or to educate yourself more about being a live donor, you could save somebody's life, or you could help somebody get off of dialysis.
Now, are you waiting for a transplant, or are you?
I am. So they told me it was a 3 to 5 year wait for a cadaver kidney. And my wait time in January is going to be 5 years. So that's
so you're due.
I'm due. So hopefully, knock on wood.
Do you ever just imagine that maybe when you do get somebody else's kidney that you will get their memories like Dax did?
I hope so. That's what I'm wishing for. That's why I'm hoping that somebody gets somebody who has some interesting experiences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
a rock star kidney.
Yeah, I'm
not a rock star kidney.
No, not a rock star. Never mind. No, that's bad.
I'm hoping that I get somebody with some artistic ability, like drawing and painting, because that's the one thing that I really can't do. So that'd be amazing if I could do that too.
I'm really bad at that too, which sucks because when we work together, neither one of us.
It's a bunch of stick figures.
I can't even do stick figures.
Okay.
So for people that do want to contact you and ask you more about, kidney disease and Captain and Tennille stuff, or Shaquille O'Neal stuff, you have like a public Facebook profile or something?
I do. I also have a website, michaelkenyonrosenberg.com, and I blog about kidney disease and comedy and whatever, like this and that. So there's definitely more information there. You can contact me through Facebook. So definitely reach out if you have questions.
One thing that reminds me about Aron, as well as your approach to life, is the comedy aspect. And Aron used comedy to deal with, what he was going through as well. And I just find that really interesting that, you have this great sense of humor, about
wait till you see it.
Well, it's just great that you have this sense of humor, and making people laugh about it is kind of removes the barrier of the stigmatisms of, let's not talk about something so serious.
For sure, yeah.
And I think that you do a great job of that. Aron as well was just really, used comedy to diffuse situations so that we could talk about the hard things sometimes.
For sure, that dude was hilarious, man. Like,
yeah. So I just thought that it's interesting you have that same approach to laughing about the life.
Well, thank you for that comparison. And I for me, it's like it was never. I mean, comedy has always been a part of my life. I mean, I've always thought that we should laugh at life, and because it's so ridiculous that we're here on Earth and that we're these flesh and bodies, and even though. This is not what we really are. I forgot what Yoda said.
Luminous beings are
luminous beings, not
is
this.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, that is exactly what
that was. The quote.
Yeah, it's a Yoda quote.
How does it go? Luminous beings are what?
Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter.
Okay.
So we've only got a minute before we got to run, which is what I always say. We're not going to run. So do you want to tell us just your impressions of Aron, being that you kind of watched him from afar, or, you saw him, once or twice at a convention, but he clearly left a lasting impression on you, especially because you guys have gone through the same life lessons and life
experiences. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was pretty devastating when I had heard the news that he passed away, because, I have kidney disease. I'm on dialysis, the same type of dialysis that he was on, and I'm hoping to get a kidney transplant. And it's honestly kind of scary to know that. I know that most kidney patients actually die from heart disease, not actually dying from the kidney disease, and so it's scary to me to know that somebody like Aron, who was so full of life and such a big part of the Star Trek community, and a kidney patient, could kind of pass away so suddenly. So that was kind of maybe one of the things that kind of told me, hey, get off your butt and get back into comedy too. So.
I think it kind of had an effect like that on a lot of us. Like when somebody goes so suddenly, when he seems like he's just riding a high note in life, it kind of makes you stop, and it really reminds you that shit,
Yeah,
I don't have all day. I don't have forever. Maybe we do, but we don't know. And a lot of people have been inspired to just go out and do whatever it is that they're putting off, or say whatever it is that they haven't said, What do you think about that, Sirach?
No, I think it comes down to courage. And one thing that Aron displayed was a tremendous amount of courage, to stand up and talk about the things that were difficult, to lay his own life story out there for people to, examine and critique, and for him to be such an advocate. All of these things, I believe, took a lot of courage, and we gained from that experience. I have, in my own way, adapted a mindset of trying to be more courageous and fulfill the things that I want to get done. So I think that's a really hopeful impact on what Aron left behind.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Two quick final things. Number one is Michael also shows us his artistic eye by sneaking in the Falling Tower logo behind him. That's the Falling Tower logo, because that was kind of like the emblem of, a tower destroyed, but also placing it to where you can see the website and the phone number so beautifully like that. It looks like our business cards that he also designed.
It does look like a business card. It's amazing.
And I'm not bad at graphic design, but I can't really draw.
He's good at that, and I'm bad at that too. But for those of you, the other thing is, those of you that are listening in and not watching, I want to read off the website and the phone number. It's www.legacyhealth.org/transplant, www.legacyhealth.org/transplant, and the phone number is 877-622-8030. That's 877-622-8030. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And those of you at home, always remember the 7th rule.